Give me all you got!
Well, you know, for me, the action is the juice.
Hello, howdy. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Gonna See My Friends, the podcast where we talk about old movies, fun stuff, reminisce about the olden days to see if this stuff still holds up. We got a good one this week. We're going to be covering the 2005 Judd Apatow classic, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I am joined, of course, by my co-host, Steven Garcia. And,
What's up?
And my good friend, our friend of the show, David Biscevic. Yes, sir. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Forgive me if I mispronounced your last name.
It's perfect.
Because of the way it was mispronounced so horribly in the Zoom meetings the last couple of weeks at work, I was like, I just went, crap, now I don't remember how to say it right.
It happens.
I'm sure it does.
Anything close, I say, that's good. That's good.
Okay, like it's not biscotti.
It's not biscotti, but it could be if you want it to be.
Yum, delicious.
Hey, you're paying me.
It's been worse.
Yeah. Well, this one will not be worse. We're going to be talking about the 40-Year-Old Virgin. This is the 2005 rated R, 7.1 on IMDb, 85%. It is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and the people have it at 84%. So the people love it. I love it. It's a comedy about the moments that touch us in ways we've never been touched before.
Literally.
John, your initial... I did not see this in the theater because this one came out on August 19th, 2005. I got married on September 10th, 2005. So, no money to go see the movies during the last 3 weeks before the big event. And so I saw it as soon as it came out on video. Did either of you guys see this glorious movie in the theater at all?
Go ahead, Dave. Take it.
Absolutely not. I was not allowed to.
Oh.
In 2005. Yeah. I wasn't even in high school yet. And these are the type of movies I was not allowed to watch. So, I was still sneaking like Zoolander on like TBS and shit like that.
Gotcha.
So these movies were a long way away. Like honestly, it probably wasn't until like college when I watched this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you happy? Is this now? This one we've done Anchorman. We did Anchorman at some point last year, I think.
Yeah.
This one comes out after Anchorman, so we're familiar with Steve Carell. It's after the first season of The Office, and the Michael Scott character was wildly different in the first season of The Office than he was from season 2 on.
Right.
And the reason why that is because of the success of the Andy character that he plays in 40-Year-Old Virgin, which I found really interesting because he totally changes. Michael Scott completely changes. There are some cameos in here from cast members from The Office. I don't know if you noticed this. Jenna Fisher's in the bar scene. Mindy Kaling, of course, plays Amy.
Right.
So you have some of that kind of bleed over, if you will.
Cross-contamination.
So definitely they were crossing the streams for sure in this one. They didn't throw it in your face, but it's the first time Mindy Kaling, it's her first movie credit. She would go on to, of course, write, produce, direct several movies since then. But this is right after the success of Anchorman, and we felt like maybe we were coming into a new era of comedies. David, you just brought up Zoolander. We had a lot of the Mike Myers and Ben Stiller movie from the 90s, that kind of silly, kind of raunchy, something about Mary, things like that. And it felt like we were coming into a new era. And so after Anchorman, which was Judd Apatow produced, but this is now written and directed by Judd Apatow with Steve Carell also co-writing. But I felt like if this is the follow-up to Anchorman, I felt like after seeing this and just how uproariously funny, this could have been horrible.
Right.
This premise could have been, it could have just absolutely, the 40-Year-Old Virgin, then we're like, oh my God. But to watch this movie and how many belly laughs you get from this, and it's a touching, there is something to take away from this.
Right.
I felt like we were coming into a whole new era, like comedy had changed, they'd really upped the game, and this really solidified that we're coming into that new era.
Right.
You guys feel that at all?
Well, yeah. Well, because we went from scripted, it's a script, you write it, you say the lines, and then we moved into improv, where the director gives these incredibly comedic, actors the ability to say their own shit and just say it as many funny things as possible and then take the funniest one. And Anchorman, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Superbad, they all have that same thing where the actors are coming up with the funniest lines in the movie. And you can tell what's real. A lot of these scenes are real. Like the waxing scene is real. But, I think that's what it is. And another thing to add to what you were saying is the 40-Year-Old Virgin, right? It sounds, what could that be? And there's a line in here where Seth Rogen's like, "Oh, I watched a movie called Liar Liar where, the theme was don't lie." And he's like, "I thought that's so genius." And the genius part about 40-Year-Old Virgin is it's actually a emotional movie. It's touching. And we're rooting for the guy. It's not just a raunchy, it has heart to it.
It does.
And
Well, the thing for me is when I first saw this movie, I saw this in the theaters with I think a girlfriend at the time. I can't remember who, but I saw this in the theater, and subsequent watchings of this, I love the first. Well, I'll start with this. I'll start with what you were saying, Dave, which is the kind of highly improvisational element of these comedies and kind of the raunchiness of what Apatow kind of brings to his movies, which is heavy improvisation, conversations that feel like actual conversations, and there's a mix of raunchiness and sweetness and the touchiness of
always penis jokes.
And yeah.
God.
So it's like you said, Knocked Up, Superbad, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, these types of movies, which kind of introduce this kind of new way of presenting these kind of old tropey kind of ideas, but this is the new way of presenting them. And I think that's why it hit so hard, was because people, I think, were kind of, in the 90s, mid 90s to late 90s, a lot of the stoner kind of stuff kind of came into the comedies, and this not. And it doesn't have any of that in it, but there's a feeling of that stoniness kind of humor to this, because it's really grounded, and it's really part of the quips that you would have, what's his name, Jesus, what's his name? He was in Paul Rudd. Sorry, Jesus, old man brain. But Paul Rudd saying "Oh, it's $9 beer night."
Yeah,
and just little quips like that of it kind of just it decorates the scene, right? Yeah. It's not the main point, but there's all these little quips of that see, now you gotta you get now you get a couple of hood rats and you run right through those, just these conversations that just kind of, like you said, belly laugh, and it was kind of a new thing. I'd never kind of really saw that in that type of environment and before. I saw a lot of raunchy stuff in the 80s, but that was more action, it was more like sex or boobs or whatever it was, and it wasn't so much what guys go through at that time anyways.
It's a good point.
Real conversations. Unfiltered.
And this is a not an outlandish premise to a movie, because the problem is that it's not that he hasn't had luck with women, it's just it's never happened before, and then next thing he knows, it's been however long. They have the flashback scene to where he's presumably in high school, and the girl with the braces, and he's just it's a lot of this is not his fault. No, it's not really. It's not that he's not good looking,
dude.
But it's just been so. He's a 40-year-old virgin physically, and then it's because it's been so long that he doesn't even know how to. At one point, he doesn't even know how to talk to adult women anymore. He's been that far removed, and it's just like he said. It's just never happened.
Well, and if somebody starts sucking on my toe, they're getting kicked in the face too. You know? And then they turn around, they're like, "You're bad at this." It's like, no,
Right.
no.
Yeah, I don't.
Try
no one
again,
should be good
dude.
at
Try
this.
again. Exactly. Who the fuck's good at this? No.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
you feel for him because it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
those were the reasons why he never went back and tried again. It's like, oh, man.
Were
know.
any of you guys kind of in that boat? I remember because when I was a kid, I was the opposite of Steve Carell, or whatever his name is in this. I was the
Andy.
opposite of that. I was a horn dog when I was a kid. So, I mean, this idea of, being 40 years old and being a virgin, it's just so, I mean, I was a horn dog. How about you guys? Were you guys like kind of,
Well, I know a couple. I mean, there are people still, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm from a small town, and if you don't ever get out of that small town, I don't know what luck you're going to have with anybody, whether it's whoever you want to love.
Yeah.
It's just, and so I do know, I can think of people that have been in this situation. What I like, though, is they could have taken it so where the guys that he ends up, who find out that he's a virgin, could have taken this into just made his life hell. And they're actually hugely supportive of him. And
Yeah.
that's really where the heart, I think, comes into this, because
Right.
they are honestly like, they don't have, he's the annoying guy at work, like Cal, who's Seth Rogen's character, thought he was a serial killer. It comes up a couple times. I think the
Right.
studios even said that Steve Carell looks like a serial killer in this, and so that's why those jokes came up. Like there was, like, he looks sort of, but he got into really good shape for this role. I guess that he lost. Like if you watch the first season of
Yeah,
The Office, he's
like-
heavier.
Yeah.
He's much heavier.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in season 2. He's lost 30 pounds. He's in really good shape. And like you said, just an excuse to get that shirt off to show how hairy he really is in real life, and that he would
Yeah.
allow Steve Carell, who is a superior improv guy. He's been with the Groundlings, Second City, all the
Yeah.
He's had this, his time on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He used to be. None of those were scripted roles that he had. So he can do this. He can do this stuff, and this is time for him to show off. He doesn't have the greatest lines in this, but what he brings to the table is his facial expressions.
Right.
After he's acting so much with his face, and his reaction to what's going on in the scene is glorious. I don't know that you could have had anybody better play this role of Andy. I think they wanted Jason Segel somewhere in here, and the studio didn't. So Judd Apatow wrote. You just brought it up. Chasing. You just brought it up.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall was written
Love
for
Forgetting
Jason Segel, but really wanted
right.
him in this movie too. And again, that role was written for Jason Segel. This role was written for Steve Carell. And just he's in every scene. It is a character study.
Well,
It
I
doesn't
think-
really seem like
yeah.
it, but it is.
No, it
Well, I
is.
think he. It's interesting because I think he was kind of bouncing around Hollywood for a while. He wasn't really, he was in Bruce Almighty.
Right.
He was in Anchorman. But in the 90s, he was on the Dana Carvey show, and him and Steve Colbert.
The two of them
And,
work
I say
together a
that
lot.
too.
Yeah, and they, he was kind of not slumming, but he was just kind of, hustling for jobs here and there. And then, in 2005, he gets this movie, and then he gets The Office, which kind of just shoots him into the stratosphere in terms of, Hollywood work. But it's interesting because you're seeing kind of the beginnings of his career, even though, he had been in some stuff, but it's like, it's kind of like akin to, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in Good Will Hunting. They've been around, but, they had this one vehicle that kind of shot him into the stratosphere. And I think this is kind of, you're seeing the beginning of Steve Carell's of career here. And it's pretty interesting. It's a great film to do that too.
Yeah, and he's an amazing actor too. Like he can do serious roles too. And some comedians can't step over.
Right.
Like I remember it took a long time for me to accept that Jim Carrey was going to do serious roles at one point. Yeah. And I was like, ugh, like I can't do it. When I see Steve Carell in a serious role, I like.
Well, I will
right?
push back
Little Miss
a little
Sunshine.
bit.
You're like, this shouldn't work, but it does.
Right.
And that was like his eternal sunshine for the spotless mind
That's
moment.
the one.
Yeah.
That's the one where I was like, damn, all right, I see it.
He's got it. He can do this.
Well, you know, I feel like he's good in the serious roles when there's an ensemble. I feel like that's where he really shines. When he's asked to carry a movie, if it's not a comedy, I feel like I don't quite think that he gets there, but I think the effort is A for effort.
Right.
But I think more so when he's in an ensemble, I think he works better in that kind of like crazy stupid love. I think that's what it's called. I've seen parts of that movie.
That's a good one.
But yeah, so I think when he's not asked to carry a movie, I think he shines. But I think when like Beautiful Boy, and that other one where he was making the model towns or whatever it was. I just think that those are just two. I don't know. It didn't work for me, but I appreciate the effort. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what was that? Yeah, he was like in his backyard, like building stuff.
Yeah.
So this movie is, let's see, this cast, by the way, is absolutely. I mean, the amount of people that are like, it's got that ensemble, that Second City, the Groundlings kind of feel to it. I mean, you've got Catherine Keener, who really brings what Steve Carell said, made this a real movie. Other than that, he was looking around going, let's see, Paul, Romany Malco, Seth Rogen, Elizabeth Banks, who's in improv, Leslie Mann, obviously Judd Apatow's wife,
right?
Jane Lynch, great Jane Lynch, who is just absolutely incredible as Paula. Holy cow, is she good in this?
Hey, haunt your dreams.
You got Kevin Hart,
very discreet.
You got Kevin Hart.
Hey, Kevin Hart shows up in a scene that he steals that scene. It's the director's cut. I feel is better. They're like, aim high, Will.
That's what I wrote down. Both y'all getting clapped up. This your boy?
Is this your boy?
Oh my God, he's so good in this.
So I don't.
That's not in.
I don't understand.
That's not in the
So
original.
I'm going to take that as disrespect.
It's not in the original. No. They have the little argument, the beginning of the argument.
but
They don't
the
have
best
that
part-
whole throwdown of the I'm coming back, both of y'all. And then this Andy comes over. Hello, welcome to Smart Tech. How may I help you? He's obviously like his first day on as a floor manager.
I don't
and
know.
He's got
Have you ever heard of Rolling 20s?
Yes, that's the director's cut, which is
yeah.
what I've only watched for the last however long.
Yeah,
I had
I
it on
think-
DVD.
Me too, because
got the director's cut, and that's the only way to go. There's like 13 extra minutes.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it's got all of that, all the stuff. There's a couple other scenes that if you watch what's on HBO right now, it's streaming on HBO.
That's what
or
I had
Netflix
on.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
you
I
are
was like,
missing a couple of the jokes.
I know. I was watching. I was like, wait a minute. What's going on?
What happened there?
Where's the good
there's
parts?
like 2 more minutes in this. Yeah, the good part of this scene is just cut out.
Yeah.
You have, like you said, Kevin, Mo Collins. I love Mo Collins as Gina is so good in this. I mean, she's only in it for a couple of minutes, but freaking Gina. I love Mo Collins. She's from Mad TV.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead. She's done a lot
Parks
of
and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Yes, that's right. She's the drunk morning show. Jan.
Yeah.
She's so good. David Koechner, of course, is the dude. So you have three, other than Will Ferrell, you have the Channel 4 news team in this movie. And I think it's a good thing to not have Will Ferrell in this movie. It really this isn't a Will Ferrell movie, but it's from the same universe as the other Will Ferrell movies. So he's not there, but he's kind of there in spirit. You feel like maybe him... like maybe behind a camera making faces at guys from time to time. I don't know. It's like he's got a presence that's here, but he's not here. And I of course bring him up.
Is he a
Jonah
producer?
Hill's only his third. He's not involved in this. Jonah Hill's his third credit. He did an episode of. He was in I Heart Huckabees as a clerk, and then he was in an episode of NYPD Blue. But this is his first like real major speaking role. Jonah Hill is eBay.
Yeah, I got a
sell your
question.
stuff on eBay.
What character would have gotten their own like kind of like TV series or own movie out of that whole cast you just talked about? Like, what would you want to see?
Oh,
I'd want to see. For me, it'd be the what's his name? Romany Malco.
you want to
That
see
dude.
Jay? That's Jay, right? He and his girlfriend are on again, off again, and then they're going to
Now
have
you're
a baby.
putting the pussy on a pedestal.
Yeah, there's that word again.
That's the second time.
the second
what,
time I've
what does
heard
that
that.
mean?
Oh, it's Pussalaya.
Yeah. What's a
Yeah.
lot? Oh yeah.
I gotta say, for me, I love what is it? The first half, maybe,
Okay.
or the first. I watched that. I wish that they would have stuck with that tone. For me, when he meets the woman
Trish.
and Trish, and when he meets her and starts hanging out with her, I feel like for me, and this might be a hot take, but for me, the movie just falls off a cliff.
Okay.
I can't. I really have a hard time kind of staying engaged in the movie. I feel like there's two movies. There's that one, and then there's the beginning half, which is him hanging out with his buddies, trying to get laid. Them trying to get him laid, trying to get him, and all the comedy aspects of all those scenes are just top notch, hilarious. I love them. And it reminds me of me in a little bit, because when I first moved to Santa Rosa from Healdsburg, Santa Rosa is huge, a big city compared to Healdsburg. So I had friends being like, oh, we got to get Steve laid here, or we got to take him out, because I was just the novice of the group. But that's why I find that first half so funny. But for me, that second half just kind of just doesn't do it for me, man.
Okay.
It just really brings down that movie. If they can make two movies, one of that second half or one of the first half, but there's just competing tones there. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think
Is
it's
that
a
a hot
hot
take?
take. I think it's a hot take.
Yeah.
I think it's the hottest take I've ever heard. No, I'm just.
Yeah?
I know what you're saying. No, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm fucking with you, obviously.
And that's fine. That's fine.
And it's kind of what I brought up. It's like it's called the 40-year-old virgin. So we sit down, we're
Yeah.
expecting this, this buddy, like we got to get this dude laid, and that's what it's going to be. What it really is it's a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
And so
Sneaky.
we sit down and it's a sneaky one, and they sneak
Yeah,
it on.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it does change tones into a rom-com, and that's when you start to get, and that's where when Toby said these guys could have made his life hell, but they actually care about him. Like they stop
Yeah.
him from making bad decisions. Like they get vulnerable with him. They start to, realize that he was right. One of my
Yeah.
favorite parts when he's like, I have a very fulfilling life. And then it cuts to him like playing like the trombone and
Yeah.
like video games. I watched that last night and I was like, dude, that's the fucking life. Like, what
No,
are we,
right?
like, we're capping on this guy? Like, that's the dream.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they admit it. They're sitting there playing. They're like, man, like, maybe he's got it all figured out. Like, he looks 10 years younger than us. Like,
Right.
and he's like, well, because he hasn't had a she-devil, like, suck the life out of him yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, man, that's so true, But,
Oh man.
but that's
No,
where
you're
I-
right.
It's a sneaky rom-com, so I could
Yeah.
see how you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is awesome, and then you're like, wait, I didn't sign up for this shit.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's more of a feeling of like just a tone shift that for me is kind of jarring because, like you said, the first half is like the teen comedy of like boobs trying to get laid,
Yeah.
dick jokes, whatever it was, and I was in for that, and then it turns into, like you said, the romantic comedy part of it, and for me that's fine because if I watch that by itself, it's great, But the merging of those two in this movie, it could be a thing of this was kind of what is it? It was purposeful. It was trying to kind of because I don't really. I mean, can you think of another movie that's like that in this time frame of like where it's one thing and then it shifts into another, both equally good, but the tone just doesn't match? I mean, I wouldn't say that about Wedding Singers. I wouldn't say that about Old School. Pineapple Express. I mean, they maintain the same tone, right? Am I, so.
Maybe maybe not in comedies, but like take the movie Sinners. Sinners doesn't start out as a horror movie, but halfway through, you don't even realize this is a horror movie and vampires are going to show up until
Dusk
halfway
Till
through.
Dawn, too.
And it's Dusk Till Dawn. It's almost like they interrupt a great movie to become something else. And I think that in that respect, it can either fail horribly or work really well. It works really well in From Dusk Till Dawn, but you know that's coming in From Dusk Till Dawn. I don't think you know that's coming with Sinners.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, and with this, like what you're saying, am I breaking up there?
No.
Okay.
Fine.
With this, I see exactly what you're saying, and I almost wonder if they did it on purpose for the finale. Are we setting up a 45-minute song and dance scene at the end, which is just a dream sequence, and to roll the credits? I wonder if, because you're right, it's a dramatic shift in tone. But then it pays off with him breaking the fourth wall and turning to the camera and going, "When the moon is," and then it goes into the whole cast is dancing on a hill, and you're like, dude, it's funny. It was a little kind of like, what is going on now? I almost look forward to it. David, you have a thought on this, I can tell.
I feel like the tone kind of stays kind of the same throughout. There's scenes where it gets a little heavier. But I feel like every movie kind of comes with that, because even in the later scenes where he's dating her and he like takes her daughter to the the clinic, the sex clinic or whatever. Like that's that's in the same realm. You know what I mean? Like, but Seth, you have a tiny penis.
I always feel like the tone though is, I feel like it's more the beginning or whatever where they're all hanging out. It's just more, there's more raunchiness. So there's more, not raunchiness in the sense of like it's out of nowhere, but it fits into the context of what the scene is playing out as.
Right.
So I mean, for me, like that is a certain tone, but then the boyfriend getting to know the daughter, trying to get in her good graces, trying to kind of figure out dating when he's never really dated, or maybe he's dated, but never really kind of with the intention of sleeping with this woman.
Right.
I feel like that's a whole different. That's a movie I would watch that movie too, But I think just the two melding together, it just, for me, it's a little jarring. That's all. That's all I'm just trying to say.
Well, I think maybe like halfway through they realize, that it's not about butthole pleasures and 30-cent chairs. Cincinnati bow tie. I think they realize that,
Yeah. Well, they do posit that at the beginning, they do like kind of plant that at the beginning and
With the finger?
And well, no, with when they find out, and that's when that guy comes up. It's not all about whatever.
Yeah, Mooj.
He's like, what, you're like 25?
That's like the thesis of the movie.
Oh, shit, man, you gotta get on that.
When I remove the sheath, when I remove the blade I keep in my boot from its sheath, I cannot return it until it spills blood.
That's in the director's cut.
Is
not
it?
On HBO. Yeah, it's not in the HBO.
They cut everything out of that.
Why you always tell me to fuck a goat, man? The
bullshit.
the Jay and Moose, this is the bullshit of all bullshits. Jerry Bedknob as Mooj and Shelley Malil as Haziz. Now the thing about Haziz, I don't want to bring it down too much, but this guy ended up going to prison for attempted murder, and I guess they let him out not that long ago. I mean, these things are going to happen. He was I don't know, but Kat Dennings as the daughter is great. I think we had this is our introduction to Kat Dennings, who's going on 21 years later. She's starring in something right now that she's the star of the. I think it's not a comedy. Yeah, it's a show.
Yeah.
Wait, who
She's
are you
been in
talking
a
about?
ton of stuff. Kat Dennings. She plays the daughter.
Yeah.
The daughter's name is. It's on here somewhere. Marla. She's the one who brings her boyfriend home, and he's got he's broken 15 condoms, and they walk in, and so the boyfriend's all, dude, teach me. And he is like, no, it's all the kind of misunderstandings that are taking place with Marla, the boyfriend, Trish. The three
Right.
guys, and all of Smart Tech knows he's a virgin. The cat was out of the bag in like one night. All because of
Everybody.
the thing. He let it out of the bag by just trying to have locker room talk with the boys. And they're all,
Sandbags.
yeah, describe. Like, you can see Cal's like, wait a minute. He's all, describe the boobies for us. Oh, he's immediately
a
skeptical.
pile
He's like,
of
what are you?
sand.
He had like a bag of sand.
The little
my-
ones, little tiny ones.
Oh, yeah.
The big long ones. National Geographic ones.
He immediately, we were borking. I like borking.
Borking?
They're all looking around at each other like, hang on.
Oh shit.
Are you a virgin? yeah, not since I was 10.
That's what I was 10. And they're like, oh, it all makes sense. Like, you can't hide it anymore.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Oh.
Even
And
at
he's
the
just
clinic, right? When he's like, I'm a virgin too. And then he's in the car and he's like, oh, I just said that. And she was like, no, you didn't.
No.
She's like, no.
She
Like,
totally
I'm around.
Of course.
I'm
Yeah.
around guys who pretend to have sex all the time. Like, I know.
Right. Yes.
You're one of
This
them.
is the ladies should know. And in hindsight, maybe Trish should have known. But he was hiding it. He did everything. He had to clean the whole house out because they're like, you got to look at this from a female's perspective. She's picking up now. Oh, dude, you got to look at this from a woman's perspective. I mean, oh, awesome. He's got 47. Oh, he's got, what is it? The
Right.
$6 million man's boss.
Oscar Goldman.
Oscar Goldman. Why do you have that? The collectibles aspect of this. It's a really good tool to use because collectibles are still to this day probably even worth more. That room that he said he had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got a real full size GI Joe. Somebody just sold it for $55,000. You don't have any of those, do you? Yeah, I have 47 of them. I mean, she's sitting here doing the math, and he's got $500,000 worth of collectibles
Easily.
in this house. No wonder his stress level's so low, right? Exactly what you were saying. He looks so young because
He's
he's been playing with
chilling.
Legos for the last 25 years. He's
Well,
got
that's
no
the-
stress.
That's the
Well,
fucking life.
that's
Yeah, it is.
that's the thing about introducing people into your life. I think which is a big part of this movie as well. We're talking about adult loneliness. We're talking about male friendship,
Yes.
fear of intimacy. Like, when you have your gig going, like, when you have your stuff that you do every day, and you figure out like, well, okay, well, I don't get bored as much anymore because I know what to do when I get bored. You have all these bases covered, and to introduce somebody into your bubble, that now, like, she's like, you got to sell all these stuff, you got to do this, and he's just like,
Yeah.
is this what it means to be, in a relationship? Is this, and to learn that back and forth, to learn that give and take after being alone for so long, that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because it's introducing chaos, right? And not necessarily bad chaos,
And
but
judgment.
it's chaos. Yeah, and
Right.
judgment. Where before you just went about your day and you were like, I'm gonna go have lunch here. I'm gonna go work here. I'm gonna go
Right.
do this here. I'm gonna go make some money over here. You kind of control your own thing, and then when you have somebody, I think that's the kind of the underrated part of this movie is trying to figure all that stuff out, especially at 40 years old. A lot of people are thinking,
Right.
oh, you should have your shit together, but it's like, no, I do have my shit together.
You do
It's
have your
just
shit together.
My shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
But that's right.
Yeah.
And we all have our weird quirkiness about us, and you're right. You can just get a nice routine going, but if you bring somebody in, it's a huge risk. You're really opening yourself up to somebody coming in, and somebody that you really, really like,
Yeah.
and that you want to spend time with come in and can just rip your heart out. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like,
Because when you're in your 20s and when you're younger, like, you just go with the flow. You're like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, whatever. But as you get older, you're like, no, I like what I like, and I have my shit that I do, and so it's harder. It's harder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those rocks have sentimental value. Like, I have those rocks there. Like, I shouldn't have to throw my rocks away because, you think I should grow up, or I should, like, remove my Mario figurines. Like, I like my Mario. I like my Cheshire cats. you know,
I worked real hard
and
to get those
sometimes,
things.
you know, you meet people who want to come in and like change that. And
Yeah.
it's hard, but then you realize that they are meaningful.
They like you. Yeah, they like you. And well,
And
are you
it's-
talking about the stuff, or are you talking about the person coming in?
I don't know
Dave,
what we're
what are we
talking about
talking-
anymore.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I was saying, when I watched him getting rid of his stuff, I felt it from a different level than I did a few years ago. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, because all those things too are kind of, you can insert your own little thing. You know, what he's getting rid of his collectibles, but it could be like, I jam with a band on Thursday nights, and she's like, "Well, Thursdays, my family's coming."
That's
Whatever
not going to work. Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
And now you're like, okay, you know. And like I said, when you're younger, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just reschedule whatever. But as you get older, you're just like, is this going to really become a thing? You know, that's just something that you think about. You know, is this going to become?
I've
And
seen,
that's
go
putting the
ahead.
pussy on a pedestal.
That's exactly right.
Okay, that's
And it's
putting
not
the
gonna
pussy
work.
on the pedestal.
That's right.
Doing your own thing, playing video games, that's focusing on you.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be a compromise, though. You know, it can't be all you, and you can't give up everything.
Right.
Like, I think the guys that I'm thinking of, that, and hopefully they're not listening to this podcast, but if the guys I'm thinking of that are still, I don't think have ever really gotten out of the starting block, are the people who would have somebody that they liked change their entire personality to fit that, and then pursue that person, it not happen, and then have to start over again. And now here we are, 40, going for me, 50-year-old virgin, or 52-year-old virgin. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that if that's and I think that's what Andy has done. And to a certain point, he's like, and then I just stopped pursuing it altogether. But with Andy, he's coming in when he first is, after 2.5 years of working at Smart Tech, these guys invite him to play poker. And he's like, with you guys? And he's got, in his mind, it's almost like the thing about him being a virgin is all consuming. And he looks at all these other guys as the cool guys. And once he gets in with this group of friends, he realizes these guys don't have it all together like he thought. That he had them on a pedestal, and he realizes. I mean, even Jay comes right out and says, "I'm insecure, man. You can't tell." No, he can't tell.
Right.
He's like kind of stunted his becoming an adult, and you watch this maturity, and that's where the focus it changes, because Andy's no longer this naive guy. He's seen that, oh my God, I've had these guys. These guys are worse off than I am. These guys are a mess. Each and every one of them are worse than the last. So
vulnerability. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was just going to say that's the dangerous part of it, is kind of getting, you know, because I feel it at 51, I'm kind of starting over again, and it's such a weird what is it? It kind of knocks you off your skates a little bit, and you're kind of like, you know, I stay too long at the party. All these kind of weird things that you think about yourself, but at the same time, you're like, whoa, I get to kind of create my life the way I want it to, and that's the exciting thing. And I think in this movie, I think Andy's like, he goes through all the things. Well, yeah, I don't have a girlfriend. I never had sex. But in that journey, he realizes that, oh, I was on the right path in a way. I just have to do what I need to do, and that's, I think, ultimately what the message of the movie is that regardless of whatever, you know, people look into your life that don't know you and can kind of give all these things about you, it's like, oh, that's, you know, like that's their thing. Like I can't worry about that anymore. So I think Andy's on, you know, it's just an underrated part of this whole movie, I think. So
right, and you know, he mentions that, right? He's like, you know, he basically is like, I realized that I was just waiting for you, right? His whole life led up to meeting Trish and being, you know, that person for her, and that's why it worked out so perfectly. So
and it worked out for her as well. She always, like she said, I've always been dating, you know, bad guy. I never date good guys, and she knows he's a good guy right from the beginning. She doesn't know that he's such a good guy that he's zero zero skeletons, and there is no closet. There is no skeletons in any closet. This guy he needs you to teach him which she's happy to do. And then he finds out that not only does she have children, but she's also a grandma. It's just really interesting that his first experience is going to be with someone who has children who has children. And she's like, oh, so she's a grandma? He's all, no, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'm pretty sure that makes her a grandma. Cal's,
I'm the guy with the hot granny.
Yeah, he's like, man, my grandma, you got a hot granny, and my grandma looks like Jack Palance. Well, that whole scene where this has to be improv. He's all, yeah, that's very erotic. You should make love to her on her plastic-covered couch.
Oh, yeah.
You should have her.
You can always tell when it's improv, too.
You have sex with her and have her mail you a check for $12 on your birthday. I'm like, dude, some of these lines are so funny.
You know what? I'm really kind of getting turned around here because I'm actually thinking that this is like what we were saying at the beginning, which was, is this an actual romantic comedy disguised as a raunchy, teen raunch comedy? And I feel like maybe that's what it is, and that I need 100%. To kind of look at it through that lens, because I had just always looked at it as, like I was saying before, it's kind of jarring, but yeah, at the same time, it's that journey to kind of get to where he needs to go, and that's just the first part of the movie is just part of that.
Right. How about the scene of Cal's for his baby steps on talking to a woman for the first time? He's like, just go over there and just ask questions. So he doesn't say anything at all when he's first talking to Beth, and he's like, wow, that really worked. I literally said nothing. I don't know that it works that gangbusters, but he's not wrong in that.
Yeah.
In that, don't talk about yourself. Ask questions.
Right.
It's good advice for those looking to get into the dating game. Yeah. Just I know you keep it. Just fight the urge to talk about yourself the whole time at dinner. Ask questions, and it really, you'll find that maybe you actually. You got to get out of the mentality of just get the sex out of the way kind of thing, because sex is such a big deal.
Yeah,
it can be an overwhelming deal to the point where you just don't have relationships with anybody. Like, he didn't have anybody come into that room. His best friends are the old folks that live upstairs. They watch Survivor on Thursday night. Yeah. That's his life. That's his party
he needs
life.
to get laid.
Oh yeah, right. Even they say he needs to get laid.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows, dude. Yeah.
Well, I have a question. This movie, I think, like we were just doing Hackers, and that captures a certain period of time. What does this like? What does this? What's this a timestamp of in this era, 2005? What was kind of the thing there that is in this movie? Because the only thing I can think of is the eBay flipping and the brick and mortar electronic stores.
Yes.
So
the Circuit City that they're all working at is not a place that exists anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It is pretty a moment in time. It is a very snapshot of time. It could be anywhere. It could be any workplace.
Yeah.
And I love a workplace comedy, especially if it works and it's funny and they're making fun of the job that they're doing and the roles that each of them play. I think that they handle it really well. Judd Apatow can write that kind of stuff anytime. But the eBay store was not in the script until when they were filming. There was we sell your stuff on eBay store, and there was, we got to put that in there.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing to do, actually.
I remember them. You could go in there, and it was a consignment sale. You bring your stuff in, they're going to take 15% or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all it was. That wasn't all her stuff. People have given her stuff, and then I'll mail you a check when your item sells.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I never was a big eBay user.
Never.
And if that store existed now, I don't know if it still does, but if that store exists now, I would go there because I've put things up on eBay, and
nobody sees it.
For some reason, I sold something for 99 cents, which I put for like $80, and I didn't know what I did. I don't know what button I pushed, but it was like, your item just sold. 99 cents.
Oops.
What?
Fuck.
Your husband took a bath, dude. It cost me money. Then you had to ship it to him?
I just voided the thing because I was like, well, I'm not gonna fucking sell it for 99 cents.
Your eBay, you got 0 stars on eBay, my friend.
Well, because I don't know how to fucking work it.
Well,
if that store existed, I would use that store.
Sorry, Dark Agent 0092. You're not getting my guitar.
Yeah, it was ski bindings, and I was like, or snowboard bindings. And I was
that guy
like,
must
okay,
have been pissed. This guy's selling his ski bindings. I'm the only guy on
99
this
cents on a
Got him, dude.
Yeah, because it's bidding.
Yeah. It was like
Yeah.
80. It was like I listed it for $80, I thought. And
Or best offer, and you
is that what it was?
You must
Yeah.
have, because there's a minimum number, but you didn't click that. Yeah, if you're not used to doing it,
Yeah.
I use it
See?
for work quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
So I understand. I don't sell anything. I'm usually looking for things to buy.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you can screw it up bad to the point where now you owe this guy $25 in UPS shipping.
I just fucking deleted everything. I was like, fuck this place.
Just
I'm like,
torch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be late for supper.
Yeah. Oh no.
Call your mom. Tell her
Yeah.
you're
Call
gonna
your
late for supper.
Wow. Okay. Huge Departed references there. I love it.
I'm glad you guys got it.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I did want to mention this, guys, real quick,
Go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
because I remembered this movie when I was in film school. We actually spent an entire week on it, and we had
You
to.
did?
Oh, wow.
We did. We had to watch it, and we had to do homework and write why it was different than other ones, than other comedies of that time.
You
And
didn't
it's
tell me
basically-
this. That's awesome.
because I remembered it this morning. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Nice. Whoa.
I remember having to do this, and the whole point was, it's a rom-com disguised as a raunchy movie, and I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe Judd Apatow mentions this, and it's the reason why I brought
he
up
does.
the liar liar reference, is because that line kind of encapsulates the entire theme of this movie. It's like, oh, the movie's liar liar, but the theme is don't lie. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
the movie's
yeah.
40-year-old virgin, but at its heart, it's like an actual love story. And I think
Right.
one of the biggest themes in this is vulnerability.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
at some point in this movie, every single person has a scene where they're vulnerable. Every single one. Like, even down to Marla the daughter, to Jay, to, Paul Rudd's the most vulnerable in the whole movie.
Oh my God. He's
Yeah.
Whole
crying.
movie,
half the
that's all he is vulnerable.
Isn't this us? This is just us, isn't it?
But I think that's
Paula, when she sings that Spanish love song,
everyone's
it's got to be
vulnerable.
he's just looking at her like, please let this be over now. You're
Well,
right.
we
Everybody is just opened up, dude.
Yeah.
He gets
Well-
everybody to open up to him.
Right.
He's like this safe space for everybody to. Yeah, it's great. I think, and then
Yeah.
at the wedding, the people are together, and that's
Yeah.
a really great point. I mean,
Well, I
it
think
does have a lot of heart. That comes through for me.
100%.
Well, I
You're
think
just laughing.
we just did a movie previously, and I said this, and I'll say this for this movie. It's like everybody kind of brings their A game. Even the scenes that don't have Steve Carell in them are still funny, and they still carry the movie to the next scene, which is what you want your scenes to do. You just don't want standalone scenes, but it's like at some point, like they're the scene with Kevin Hart and what's his name, Jay, and when they're talking, or when it's the bar scenes or something. It's just it's always carrying through the comedy, and the movie still holds up in those scenes. So
Yeah,
that's a strength.
the video game scene, you know how I know you're gay?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, my God,
Yeah.
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 Because you listen to Coldplay.
There's so many of those, and that's all improv.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
They said just go back and forth. All the things. I know you're gay. You just said you're not having sex with women. I mean,
Because you're holding each other ever so gently.
ever so gently,
Cabron.
yeah. And somehow, Aziz is in on the game. Like, they must be doing this all the time at work now. 'Cause now
Exactly.
Aziz comes out of nowhere, halfway through the movie. Let me ask you guys this: favorite lines? Are there any huge lines that were just breathtaking comedy lines that didn't need to be comedy lines. When he's getting his chest waxed and some of the things he's saying, he's like, yeah, those hairs go really deep. There's just things that are just like, you don't have to say anything there. You know, because he was really getting his chest waxed and everyone. I don't know if you've ever had hilarious. That, but she's doing it against the grain. He's literally bleeding. You see the blood start to pool up in those spots. And that he put himself through that, and then just let the hair grow back naturally. Because then, when later on in the movie, and he takes his shirt off, or Beth, she looks at his chest, and it's starting to grow back at that point, and she's like, "Oh, you're so kinky!" Like everything. Beth seems to think he's this matador of lovemaking, and she's completely read it wrong.
Well, I think mine is the I think the Kevin Hart and Jay. Even just any scene with Jay, I think he's so he's just so, I don't even know what the word is, but he's always like, you see this dog? You see
I used to work with a guy just like that.
Oh yeah, anything he says, man, is so funny. When after the speed dating, when his girlfriend shows up, and, what's this? I found this in your thing. And oh no, baby! You know, I work with them. I don't, like all that kind of.
That part's hilarious.
He's just a hilarious character, and I love that guy.
Yeah, I love him. Jill, the girlfriend, is also in Superbad. She was the clerk that sells him the beer, and then gets interviewed by
Marshall Mathers, the rapper Eminem. Marshall Mathers. Yeah,
she's great.
I have a question,
David. You have a line that you mentioned, the cow line, but is there a
my favorite line is that fucker came out of nowhere. Like that's just to me, like for some reason that line is the way it's delivered, the context of the scene, like it's fucking hilarious. And like that's that great. Scene with oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Leslie Mann.
Yes.
It's fucking hilarious when they're in the car.
Let's go get some fucking French toast.
Yeah. Like, hey, hands off the wheel. I'm gonna get my pants like that. She's hilarious.
She is hilarious,
and
she really steals that scene.
Yeah, she steals it, and then when she's like, oh, we're here, and it's like a real time crash. You know what I mean? It's just like it really one take, boom, crash. And she's like, that fucker came out of nowhere. I don't know. To me, like that's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
She did play the drunk really, really well.
Yeah.
Like
what's yours, Toby?
Huh?
What's yours? What's yours?
I think so. At the end, when Trish is trying to chase down Andy, and he's on his bike, and he hits the front of the car, and he goes over, and he goes through the billboard, and he lands on the ground, and she comes over to him, and he makes his confession to her. It's the very last thing almost in the whole movie. And he's laying on the ground. He's like, I'm a virgin. I always have been. And I don't know why that is so funny to me, in that by definition, it's not like you can go back to being a virgin. I just love that I'm a virgin. I always have been. It's just like, I don't know if who wrote it, but he must have just been waiting for the entire movie to say that. It's so simple, and it's such a perfect it's not a funny part of the movie. It's that billboard equally on both sides, but that's the one that I wrote down as far as I don't know.
It just caught you.
The wedding thing, it just catches me, dude. Yeah. I always have been. Of course, you always have been.
Well, that's so the thing with that's the thing with the $9 beer night or whatever. Those kind of quips for me is like I know, I hear what you're saying, because it hits me in a certain way.
Okay.
Especially the way Paul Rudd says it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, Toby's pissed. You can tell. He's like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Right.
And now that's just the
every time they go out, he gets more miserable as like the movie goes on.
Totally.
And then you find out they dated for 4 months. Like, dude, that was the one last night that got me rolling. He's like, I had the most memorable relationship. We were together for 4 months. I just started laughing so hard. It's like, dude, it's been 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, man, you gotta get over that shit.
He's all, just stop stalking my friend, or start messing with his head. Look, I changed my phone number. I changed my email. He's like, oh, well, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So good. Yeah. He keeps the same level of anger at her. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Let's see.
I still get women, and I'm ugly as fuck. He's like, I'm not ugly as fuck. He's like, all right, ugly as fuck, ugly as shit. Like, he's
Right.
like, you're fucking ugly. I'm a novelist.
There's dudes like that I'm like, whoa.
Oh
okay.
yeah, I used to
all right.
work with someone. I'm just kidding. I'm like, damn, you pool? All right.
Yeah. Shit.
Huge cameo comes from the box of porn that David gives to Andy. The movie that he picks, Space Nuts, was a movie that was filmed for this.
Oh, really?
And the actress in the movie in Space Nuts that he's fast forwarding through is Stormy Daniels.
Yep.
Oh.
So he's like, okay. And then he's like, he can't do it. He can't do it. And so then he puts on Everybody Loves Raymond. So strange,
geez.
right?
It all
Let's
comes
see.
full circle.
Let's see. A couple of the things that David says I still say to this day. Whenever anybody shows me their sonogram of the baby, I can't see it. And I love that David's takeaways, like Jay's showing the whole team, like this is the head, and he's all looks like a poltergeist. And then at the end he says it looks like the Doppler radar. Are just, I don't see it either. I've never been able to see anybody shows me, look what we got, like guess what? And they'll post it online. I'm like, I can't see, I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's life. It's life is what you're looking at.
Okay. Well, you tell us, because you've gone through this. Steven and I have not. So maybe if it was my own, I would be like, oh, okay.
At a certain
He's all,
point,
got it.
At a certain
This
point,
is
it
his
doesn't
dick.
look like
Extrapolate that. They're all,
shoe
I
size.
can see Toby. I can see Toby in the delivery room. Oh my God, he's hung like a horse.
right.
That's the umbilical
That's
cord.
the
Mr.
umbilical cord,
Ballinger.
Mr. Williams. Do we have anybody with a? I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Are Andy and Trish still together?
Oh,
100%. The fuck?
That's good.
I think that at a certain point, you when you find it, you're gonna stop kind of grocery shopping, so to speak. I don't know what you call it, but you're like, cool, I got the. I mean, if you're healthy, and I think what Andy's gone through kind of confirms that he's on the right track, anyways. Is that it's like, oh, this is a good thing. I know what a good thing is when I see it, and I have it. So yeah, I think they're still together.
Good.
Yes.
David, you think they're still together?
100%.
Do they have
Yeah.
children together?
Yes.
Do you think Trish is
Wait a
getting
minute.
back?
No.
Oh, and she's got 3. So does he have any
No.
children of his own?
I think she gives him
I
one.
think,
Do
yeah,
you think,
maybe.
you think they have a baby together?
I think they have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. 40 years old.
I mean, it happens.
Is she
That's
40?
true.
How old is she?
Yeah, she's up
Well,
there,
she
right?
doesn't say.
But she looks good for
She's
her.
got a. Yes, she does. I don't know. She doesn't say how old she is in the show, but she's got a 23-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 8-year-old. I think were the 3, but and
Yeah.
the 23-year-old has a 1-year-old. So
Oh,
she
that's right.
had, if she is 40, she had her first child at 16 and a half, 17.
Yeah, that makes
I don't know,
sense.
that's
Yeah,
totally
so she's
doable.
42. She's
So
40
she's,
also.
they're all supposed to be roughly the same age, I think, is what
Yeah.
the idea
Yeah.
was. I think
Yeah.
that's how Judd wanted to the story to go. Do you guys
you
have
have-
a what is Curious George like in real life? Does anybody know? Do you love the Captain Yellow Shirts? Hi, Captain Yellow Shirts. Hi. Do you guys have a? Is it possible to have a Clay Thompson Award winner for any of you guys?
I think mine would be. Mine's gonna. Oh Jesus! It's either Kevin Hart
nice.
Yeah, that's a
or
good choice.
or the Cincinnati Bulltie.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
That was mine.
Nice.
was it?
Mood-
So I'll
mood-
pick Kevin Hart.
No, I
I'll
can
pick
pick
Kevin
Kevin.
Hart.
I'll go with Paul Rudd.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Rudd's hilarious in this. You know, if I hear y'all, hey, I woke
Dude.
up and I'm confident to say to you that if you don't take what's his name?
And Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald
Mike
DVD out, I'm going to kill everybody in the store. If I hear
That's right.
Yamo be here, Yamo be there one more time. Get back to work. You're such a smart ass. Yeah. No, Paul Rudd's great. And like you said, like he looks so put together like at work, and then after work when they're like drinking and he's like sulking and like depression and despair, like his hair's all fucked up, and I don't know, he's just great. He's funny in every scene, and he brings like, you know, another level of understanding to the situation. You know, it's not all about sex with him, like it's more about like love. And so he brings like another, you know, perspective to the table out of those group of guys.
His innocence has really made him into a decent. He's not one of these guys that's going to be, you walk into the break room and he's talking about just disgusting, not safe for work stuff. HR would be pulling you aside. He's just not going to participate in those conversations. The one conversation he tries to have, he can't even fake it very well. Like it's the first time he's ever been in that situation in his life, perhaps. So before we go, I'm gonna take Leslie Mann as my her character plays that
so good,
such a drunk, and it was actually their daughter who suggested that she fall asleep at one point during that drive home, so she passes out and then sideswipes all the cars. That was I believe Maud's idea, who's probably 5 or 6 at the time that they're filming this. So because it's 20 years ago, but Maud had some input, I think, in the direction of her mom's character in this. You know, she's have you have anything to drink tonight? He's all, no, I haven't. She's all, blow into this. He's all, oh, okay. What is this? She's all, the judge thought the judge recommended it. It's just such a throwaway line where I don't know if you guys have. I have not had one of these, but I've seen these in the cars.
I've seen them.
I don't know how she's planning on getting home without having somebody else blow into this thing, but that was
her plan. Maybe that's why she took him home in the first place.
That's why she needed him. Okay.
But I still love the whole, let's go get some fucking French toast.
And then when she burps, and she's like, I had a bad shellfish, and then she kisses him right away. Dude.
Oh, man.
No, that whole scene is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's a good one.
She's all, what's your name? Like she's already forgot. He's all Andy.
Yeah.
Andy. Don't ever be named Dan. Like, what is this? She's all, because Dan rhymes with man and men. But, you know, it's like, don't ever be named Dan. Like, this is the weirdest, the most drunken conversation. She's really plays.
She's great.
She is so good.
Perfect.
One last thing before we go. We have to mention this soundtrack is incredible to this movie. It starts out with Life of Illusion by Joe Walsh. You got, of course, 6 or 7 Michael McDonald songs that are just playing minute by minute, playing in the background, Taking It to the Streets, playing in the background. Ain't No Mountain High Enough is playing. Take Me in Your Arms is playing. But you've got I'm Every Woman, Shaka Khan, Red Light Special, TLC. Of course, they had to play an Asia song because of the framed Asia poster, but in the heat of the moment is playing Word Up. Steve Carell singing Word Up is always good. Rump Shaker by Rex. Rump Shaker by Rex and Effects is great.
Wow.
Dude, so a huge sound. I didn't write them all. Hello by Lionel Richie.
Oh,
the scene
that's
where he's
Lionel.
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Hello, and he like turns the figurine the other way.
There's everything around. There's like a picture of him when he was a little kid. He turns that around. Like a devil statue gets turned around. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but anyway. So we did our Klay Thompson. Any final
you didn't do
thoughts?
yours? Oh yeah, you did.
Oh, I did.
I did. What are you talking? What am I talking about?
Leslie Mann. Yeah, I took.
Yeah, Leslie Mann.
You know what? You convinced me. I was gonna say
another one.
Everything Leslie Mann says in this movie is hysterical.
I
She
agree.
absolutely steals the 5 minutes that she's in it.
100%.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Agree.
All right, fellas. Well, anybody else? Last thing. And if you have any tips and tricks and you want to protect yourself from hackers out there, make sure that you buy go onto our Patreon and buy the Stegar VPN. It's available. There's only a few left. And hang on. What did I say? Our Patreon. We don't have a whole lot of the Patreon left, but there's a little tiny bit. So go ahead
Nice.
and log in. Get us some of that. Anyway, we'll see.
I love that.
I left it in here from a few minutes ago, so that was for that's for you, Steven. The Stegar VPN. But we should have a Patreon because somebody wants to
should.
throw $5 our way. You can
Buy some
Venmo.
coffee.
Follow us on Venmo. What else? Anything else, fellas? Last thoughts? Anybody?
Aim high, Willis.
Aim high, Willis.
I think I've turned my. I think my hot take is now. Now I'm gonna revisit the second part again because
Come back to us, buddy.
It was a hot take.
It was a hot
for
take.
the last 10 years, I would say I was like, okay, right up until I think what is it when I guess he meets. They go on a date. I think that's when I'm like, okay, I'm out.
Okay.
But now I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go back and watch that second half.
Very nice.
See what it does.
Hell
Okay.
yeah. And watch it
Give
with
it
a
a shot if
couple
you
of
haven't
hood
seen it.
rats.
That's right.
Run through a couple of
Yeah,
those.
bam, 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 bam. Get right through those.
No. Shout out to the hood rats.
Play some online poker. Just a couple hours a night.
Because now
When
we're
I'm
on
not playing Fortnite, or what
upper
does it say?
echelon. Yeah.
So it's free on HBO right now to stream at any time. And I thought it was again a great follow up to Anchorman. I kind of see these as like how the Judd and we just saw him last week. The Kevin Smith View Askew universe. This is in that Judd Apatow. We start to stack up a bunch of movies. One funnier than the last is you got a lot of Seth Rogen stuff starting to really, now that Seth and his writing partner, he's becoming, this was like one of his, I think his first big starring role, but he had worked with Judd Apatow, of course, on Freaks and Geeks.
Right.
But
they all came up
this
together.
is his first, and then Seth at this point said, I've got a bunch of movies written too.
Yeah, dude.
So
Superbad.
then we get we got Superbad,
changed the
Pineapple
game.
Express. This is the end, the interview. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And now he's writing The Studio, which is one of the greatest television 30-minute TV shows. I don't know if you guys watch The Studio on Apple.
Yeah.
Not yet. But I will.
It's good.
Incredible. So he's hugely talented. So we're going to get into all that too as the years roll by. But thanks for joining us on yet another my friends whomst I came to see. So thank you. I appreciate it. For myself, Toby Ballinger, and my friends, gentlemen, if you'd like to say a final anything, just
Hey, take care.
right.
See you, Dave. Good to
Have
see
a
you,
good
man.
weekend. Stay safe.
very good. All right, guys.
All right.
See you next time. Bye.